Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are discussing another add-on application, and that is the Runway Awareness and Advisory System, or RAAS. This is a really awesome application that gives you the alerts when you're approaching runways and things like that, and today we're going to talk about how to set it up. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future updates and future guides that will be coming down the road. Link to Patreon can be found in the description below. Okay guys, so real quick, as I said, what this does is it actually gives you audible announcements approaching runway 25, right, as we're seeing right here. Tells you if you're taxiing too fast, lets you know, hey, you're on the taxiway, slow down. So I'm going to go ahead and put this screen up. You guys can feel free to pause it for a moment and read through the alerts that it gives you. Now, there are a couple other applications that are required in order for this to work, one of them of which is a payware. And that payware application is FSUI PC7. Okay, and you can just Google FSUI PC7 and it pops right up on the first link. You do have to purchase it, and the reason being is because it requires the use of Lua. Lua is a scripting language for those of you who are unaware, and I believe only the registered version of FSUI PC7 enables Lua, the Lua functionality. Lua is a very powerful scripting language, allows you to do a ton of different things that normally you wouldn't be able to do with many SDKs. Now, the other tool is the Runway Maker tool, and I'll have a link to both in the description below in case you guys need it. The Runway Maker tool, what it does is simply pulls Microsoft Flight Simulator and develops a runway database of everything that is inside of Microsoft Flight Simulator, lengths, directions, basically the runway layout, so that way the program in the background can know when to execute said commands that we're discussing here. We're going to go through the installation process of this. Now, I have yet to use this myself. You guys are seeing this for the first time, and the reason being is because I want to be able to go through the installation process with you. That way, if we come up to with any weird behaviors or bugs or settings that need to be adjusted in Windows, you guys can see those firsthand and know what problem I experienced, if I experienced any, and how they were resolved. I know a lot of you don't like it when I do some of these videos where I haven't prepped for it, if you will, but this is one of those times where, you know, when there's multiple installations and multiple applications required for things to work, I want you guys to be able to see the thing from start to finish. So let's go ahead and get rolling. All right, so in this next segment, we're going to take a quick peruse through the README. This is included with the download of RAAS. I feel like I'm saying like Ra's al Ghul from Arrow. Anyway, so the biggest thing, like we discussed before, FSUI PC7, the Make Runways utility, and at least one sappy voice in English language for Windows. Okay. Oops. Gosh darn it. I keep trying to scroll down the same page. All right. So first thing we do is build the worldwide database. Now I'm going to show you guys how we do that here. So we had discussed the need for another application. So let's see here. Let me find. You guys have to bear with me. I'm opening up my folders here. Where's my Explorer? There it is. Okay. And let me turn that on for you guys. All right, so this is what it looks like. So we open this folder up here, and you have this executable here, and you just run this, and it's going to ask you, permission to do so. I think the first time you run it, it will ask for permission to access it, but I can't remember if it actually did or not. And then what you're going to get is you're going to get something that looks like this. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. Boom. Okay, let me make that a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. So this is what it looks like when it's all complete, okay, is this screen here, okay? And so I launched the executable that we were just looking at, okay, right there in the background that's highlighted. I launched that executable. I told it, yes, run your scan. When the scan completed, this is what it looks like. So it finds the total airports, 38,976. And runways equals 80,842. Holy mercy, that's a lot of runways when you think about it. Okay, and that's probably not even all of them. So at this point, we can click OK. That's going to be the first step. All right, so now let's go back to our PDF document here for a second. and go to the next. Boom. All right, so the next step here is we need to, let me move this up so you guys can see it. There we go. Once done, copy the R4 CSV file build in by make runways inside the FSUI PC7 directory. All right, so let's do that. So again, let me get this off the screen here. And let's open this up. And we're going to find the make runways directory. There it is. Let me bring that back up for you guys. Never realized how many windows I open simultaneously until I'm in this kind of situation doing these kind of recordings. Okay, so let's find what it was asking for. Let me drag this over so I can see it too. All right, R4 CSV, there it is right there. So we're going to hit copy here. And then we're going to go back to my applications. There's the FSUI PC7 directory, and this is what it should look like, okay? So from here, we're just going to hit paste. So now we've copied that file into the correct directory. There it is right there, okay? Oh, gosh darn it, you guys can't see that. I hate it when it does this. There we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. So applications, so there's that make runways folder. Okay, all I did was go into FSUI PC7 and I copied that file right here. This is from the make runways and I just copied and pasted. All right, so that step is done. So now let's go back to our PDF document. And now we have the RAAS installation file. So copy both supplied files. I don't know why I said it like that. RAAS Lua and WSI to the FSUI PC7 directory. All right, well, that seems pretty simple. So let's go back to that again. Let me turn that off so it's not so blinding. Let me get my Explorer back up so I can see it because that's kind of important. Okay, now let me make sure. All right, good. We're on the same menu. And so from here, I'm going to go to my downloads, go to RAAS. And so it said this one and this one. Although, did that mention an EXE? It did. Okay. All right, so I'm going to copy again. And I'm going to go back and back again. And now we're back in the FSUI PC7 directory, and we're going to hit paste. Okay, so those are there now. Let's go back to our document. Okay, so we are in the sim. I have the sim active. I know you guys can't see it yet. Bear with me. This is because FSUI PC7 up here wouldn't let me, you couldn't see the top bar here. It would only show the internals here of the menu. So I wanted you guys to be able to see the assignments tab. So it tells us to go to the assignments. Okay, and let's see here. Let me go back to manual start. From FSUI PC7, open the assignment menu and configure a button or shortcut key as follows. Okay, so we need to go to assignment menu and configure a button. I'm going to do buttons and switches. All right. And now, of course, there it is. All right, let me drag that up there. I don't know if I can make that any bigger for you guys. Let me see if I can use the window capture mode. This is where OBS sometimes lets me down. There we go. I think it'll let me do that. Let me turn this on, turn that off. There we go. Let's minimize the display. Boom. Okay, I think that'll work. All right. And this way I can expand it for you guys. There we go. Okay, so let's see here. A button control. I need something that I'm not already using. I think I've got something. Let's try that one. Okay, and select FS control is to be checked. Lua. Holy mercy. Can I hit L? Okay, cool. Can I hit LU? All right, well, Lua, oh, there it is. Lua RAAS, right? Is that what it says? Yep, Lua RAAS. So set that. Parameter is 1. All right, and did I miss anything? So we have 1, which is selected, Lua RAAS, select FS control, and our keybind. Okay. And I guess let's just press OK. And so now we're in the sim. Let's find out if this works. Okay, so I decided what we're going to do is we're going to do a little flight. So I'm going to give you guys a quick caveat based on some testing I just did. So I was actively recording, but I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm going to tell you guys about this one instead. A couple things. First off, if you get going above about 40 knots on the runway or on the taxiway, it starts repeating on taxiway, on taxiway, on taxiway, letting you know that you're on the taxiway too fast. Next thing, As you approach the runway, it does in fact say approaching runway 07 left, which we will demonstrate here in a minute. If you take the runway, like for example at a midpoint, for example Hotel 4 is right there in front of us. If we were to take the runway right there, it actually calculates the distance that you have left. So it says, on runway 07 left, 4,000, feet remaining, whatever the number actually was. So that's, or 4,000 feet available is what it said. So again, very awesome. Now on the first takeoff, I went full length, had absolutely no problem whatsoever. Again, repeated all that information. When I took the taxiway at the runway at the halfway point, as I got down towards the end of the other threshold, I started getting that on taxiway alert because, I was going too fast and it thought I was on the taxiway. So there are a couple of caveats. Keep in mind, this is obviously a work in progress, so I don't mind a couple bugs here and there. The last thing that I noticed is initially I was doing touch and goes. I came off of 07 left, came back around, flew over the downtown there, and turned back in. By the way, this is Phoenix. We're at Sky Harbor right now. And coming back in for 07 left, it did not announce that I was on the approach. It didn't announce that I was lined up with it, etc. Now, I went up, tried it again, and right about the time I got to the buildings out over here, I hit the RAAS button again to reactivate the script. So it pops up saying, we were RAAS version 3.2 or whatever it was. And then when I turned on to final, that time it said, on the approach for 07 left. So it does work. If you're ever doing touch and goes, you definitely need to cycle it after takeoff. So what I would do is, once you're clear of your takeoff and you're good and you're out to navigate, hit that button and reset the RAAS script if you want this to work. What we're going to try this time is we're actually going to take the aircraft from Phoenix down to Chandler. Okay, Chandler's just on the other end of Phoenix, out towards the south over there. It's not too far away, but it should be far enough where I think that we should get an approach call. So what I'm trying to determine with this test is if you are flying far enough out, will the RAAS script detect that and reset itself essentially and give you the approach as you line up, or do you have to reset it each time that you approach a new airport? So let's find out. As I started the simulator loaded into the aircraft, the script already triggered itself, so we should be good to go. I'm going to enter in a quick flight plan here, nothing crazy. Flight plan, origin information. Let's scroll down here, start turning the wheel, hit the keyboard. This thing is so awesome. KPHX is where we, oh, there we go. Oh, what did I hit? Oh, KPHX. There we go. All right, press enter. And I'm not going to worry about the runway here on this particular situation. Give that a... there it goes. I was like, what's going on? I know that's how you do it. Come back down in here again. Roll the top. Keyboard. And I believe it is KCHD. Yep, Chandler. Good. And press enter. Okay, we've got our... Oh, I guess it's behind us. My bad. All right, let's press enter again. We've got our flight route. Let's clear the flight plan. That's all I need. Okay, so let's get the aircraft rolling. Let's see here. We want to do main menu. I'm going to go to my lights here. And we're going to turn our landing light or our taxi lights on, nav lights. Nope, not the strobe light. Beacon light and pitot heat, and turn on the fuel pump. Let's go. Parking brake released. Or not the fuel pump. Release the parking brake. All right, so this time, I'm going to show you guys. We're going to take the runway at the halfway point again at Hotel 4 here. And don't mind the bad taxiing. I'm not too concerned with the flying steps today. I just want to be able to demonstrate what's going on. We will set our flaps for takeoff a little early. And let's set our landing lights and strobe lights again, a little early, not too bad.
Approaching 07, right.
Oh, 07, right. Sorry, that's where we are. Alright, and let's kick that rudder hard over. You can tell we're going to default 172 because the nose wheel doesn't turn for squat.
On runway 07, right.
Okay.
4,500 feet available.
See, that's pretty awesome. And the total runway distance, to give you guys comparison, is 7,800 feet. All right, so let's go max power here. Like I said, about halfway down here, I started getting the on taxiway warning. So if that happens again, it's probably just a bug with this particular runway, and the taxiway may be too close, and it thinks we're on the taxiway. We'll see. Although this time seems to be working fine. Yeah, that time it worked great. All right, no worries. Okie, let's turn towards Chandler. And we've only got about 13 miles to go, so not too bad. Let's reduce that ascent rate. Start trimming the aircraft a bit. Oop, came a little off. There we go. Alright, there we go. 12 miles to go. I'll catch you guys in just a couple minutes. Alright, so let's reset it.
RAAS version 3.6, system test, OK. Approaching 0, 4, right. 4,800 feet available.
Okay, so the reason why I reset it is because when I was testing over in Phoenix, when I was doing the touch and goes, it detected it from much, much further out. I would say probably 4 or 5, well, maybe like 3 miles out is when I got the initial detection. So I recommend testing a few yourself. This is definitely going to be, I'd like to see a little bit more documentation that clarifies how it recognizes, how far do you have to be, how often does it pull the aircraft's position in order to determine that information. So that way you can better plan, do I need to reset it or not? I can tell you in touch and goes, I definitely had to, but when I did do the touch and goes and I did reset it, it gave me the approaching said runway quite a bit further out. Now, if it is something that has to be reset every time, then the other thing that I would like to see is if there's a way to disable the initial announcement. The RAAS version 3.2 thing. If there's a way to disable that, then, then I wouldn't mind, having to do that. It's just
approaching 2, right.
See, I love that. I think that's too cool. I think that's a very neat thing. I really like the functionality of the add-on. I truly do. There's a couple tweaks and a couple preferences that I would like to see be an option. Now, I'm sure in the Lewis script, and I'll have to go in and check it out, I bet you I can disable the announcement manually just by deleting that line in the Lewis script. But I'd like to see that as an option for people who maybe aren't familiar with Lua or comfortable messing around with the Lua scripts. I've done a little bit of dabbling in Lua because of DCS World. It focuses very heavily on Lua, uses it very heavily. So in modding and making mission scripts and things like that, I've dabbled a little bit here and there with it in the past, so I'm comfortable at least, messing around with one. So a couple things that I would like to see there. Like I said, so further documentation on what parameters need to be set in order for RAAS to automatically register both takeoff procedures and landing procedures without having to reset it. Or if resetting is a requirement, I'd like to see that in the documentation. Okay, in order for this to work after takeoff, you must reset it. Just something that tells you, that way you're not just sitting there waiting for something that's not going to happen. But anyway, all in all, I really like this application. I think it's got a ton of potential, especially given the fact, as I said before, you can change the voices that are used in Microsoft Windows. You're not restricted to, I think David is the name of this voice that you guys were hearing. There's a bunch of others out there that you're able to download and use, and I think they're free. Don't quote me on that, but I believe so. But all in all, I'm really impressed with this, and I think it's well on its way to becoming a very fantastic application. So to the developer, great work. I hope you continue this project, and I look forward to seeing the next releases. Let me know what you guys think about this one down in the comments below, and as always, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one.